here working, they're here to pay their rent. And I'd like to thank the bands. First, an apology or a correction rather. Betsy Frank is not playing tonight. She was never able to confirm, and that was kind of our snafu. I take responsibility for that. If you came out here all the way to see Betsy Frank and she's not playing, I'm sorry, but she sends her apologies for not being able to be here. And instead, I do have some great bands. I got my buddy Heath Tollison, who works down at Farm Electric. He's a front man of a great Texas rock and roll band called Last Picture Show. I got Adam Music, who is a local favorite. He's a good carpenter like himself, and he's front man for a great band called Southern Bitch. And then to close things out tonight, I got Mother Jackson, who is a really, really great band, all good guys. I think that about does it for the thank you. Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks to that guy right there. That's Con Walter. He designed my buttons and did some of my graphics. And somewhere back there is Eric Holder, who is helping me with my campaign, and Daryl Watson, and a bunch of other people that hung up flyers. So that's, I think, all the thank yous out of the way. Thanks to my dad. He's a pretty good guy. I'm sure he's probably responsible for getting some of this over 30 crowd here tonight. And I got my notes, so hopefully I can keep this on track. I lived in this town for 20 years. I was born in Alaska, came here in 1985, and I'm a product of the Athens Clark County Public Schools. And I was a student over there at university, graduated in 2003 with a degree in theater. I've had a lot of different jobs. Drove a van for MTV, worked as a cowboy out in Colorado. Mostly I work construction. That's what I do these days around town, is I'm a carpenter. And I worked on all sorts of construction, residential, commercial, all sorts of interesting, nasty stuff. I'm smashing my thumbs for a living. That's pretty much the way it goes. But it's fun and I enjoy it. Let's see. I reckon I want to move on to why it is I'm running for mayor. And the fact is, let me talk for a bit about my opponents, if I could. I got, first of all, I'm running. Here's who I'm running against so far. I'm running against a guy named Tom Chastain, who is a county commissioner, and by all accounts, a nice guy. He is a career insurance salesman. I'm running against a guy named Charlie Maddox, district labor tax commissioner, and a preacher. Miss Heidi Davidson's out here somewhere. She hadn't said whether or not she's going to run, and there are folks hedging their bets one way or the other as to whether or not she's going to do that. But I'm running because I love this town, and because in all the years I've been growing up here, I'm really sorry to see that young people are pretty poorly represented. Young people in this town, principally students, we got 35,000 of them right over there, provide a heck of an economic and social resource to this community. If we didn't have that college, this town would be whining. I got nothing against whining, but I'm happy to be living in this town like it is, and we got the students to thank for that. There's a lot of people here that think students shouldn't vote. Because they're a transient population, they got no business voting in this town. Okay? That's fine. But they're a transient population that's been here for the better part of 200 years. And they've had a lot to do with making this town what it is. And I'd really love to see students, young people, the under 30 crowd, have a voice in local government. Because when they don't, you see things come along like rental registration. People trying to pass laws saying where you can and cannot live. And in my mind, that's not right. If you can pay your rent, you get to live anywhere you want in this country. That's part of what it is. If you got bad neighbors, if you got neighbors that are running amok in the streets and throwing loud parties every night and trashing up their yard. Well, you know what? There's already laws against that. So if you got a problem with students when they move in next door, call the police when allowed parties. You call the city marshal when they throw a couch in the front yard. But we got no business telling people where they can and cannot live. That ain't the government's responsibility. And I've been on record a lot about this next thing, this next issue here, and I'm going to go ahead and address it. And pardon the barnyard epithet, but I think the smoking ban is bullshit. I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. I think smoking's kind of gross and kind of dumb, and I couldn't afford it to begin with. My mother was a smoker and it killed her. All the same, nobody goes into a bar after 11 p.m. is concerned with their health. You know, is there anybody here tonight it's real? I don't mean to bash you if you really support the smoking ban, but if there anybody is in here that really thinks the smoking ban is a good idea, I hope you're drinking water. And so along comes the city government decides they're going to play fun police, and 86 is smoking ban. Now we got a state ban, and I think the state ban is just fine as far as protecting minors from secondhand smoke. You know, because kids get drugged into Shoney's all the time and stuff like that, places they don't want to be, and secondhand smoke around kids is a bad thing. But in a 21 and up establishment, after 11 p.m., I don't see the problem. And there's also, health issues aside, there's sort of an equal protection under the law sort of issue here. Because now every bar in town that's got a great big patio is doing great business. The smoking ban favors them. Every bar in town that, because of their location on the street or wherever, can't have outside seating, they're getting hit in the pocketbook. And that's not fair. It's not fair to people that work there. It's not fair to people that own the bar. Yeah, I got one of these back there. Thanks, Mike. And we got other silly stuff going on, like sign ordinance. You know, that fight has come and gone, and thankfully, I believe the frog has been allowed to remain on the sidewalk. Certainly, I don't take issue with having a sidewalk that's safe for visually impaired people to walk down. But if you're so concerned with crowding the sidewalks, then why the hell do you just kick all the smokers out on the sidewalks, you know? You're telling me it's fine for a cafe to put up a 5-foot wide obstructive barrier, but you can't put out a 2-foot square sandwich board. That's something that needs to be addressed, made fair for everybody that keeps business downtown. Let's see, what else do I got here? Yeah, nervous. Anybody read the paper today? Ms. Davidson has put herself together a anti-poverty task force, and here's a quote. While forming the task force, Davidson kept her plans relatively quiet, even from Athens Clark County Commissioner. Now they're talking about her plans, whether or not she's going to run for re-election. The headline here is, Mayor, service has no tie to re-election. And she hasn't said whether she's going to run or not. After it was unveiled, Commissioner Elton Dotson, who said he is excited about the task force, called it her first major policy initiative and said it as a sign she's leaning towards running again. This is what we've been looking for from Heidi for some time. This kind of leadership, Dotson said. We just need to monitor it and make sure it's not lip service. I'm going to go ahead and extend that and say we all need to keep a closer eye on our government. We need to make sure that such things like putting together an anti-poverty task force in election year, 3 years into her term, is not just lip service. And sitting on this committee, we got such men, such individuals as Louis Holloway, the superintendent of the Clark County school system. And Mr. Holloway is quoted here. We don't know what it's like to not have a car. Mr. Holloway, not having a car sucks, especially in a town where the buses don't run but once every hour. We don't know what it's like not to, or to know when it rains we're not going to be able to work and put groceries on the table. Well, there's a fair number of people here I know from work, guys that build houses and stuff, and we get rained out. It sucks. So this is the kind of people we got sitting in our government. And maybe I'm a bit like Charles de Gaulle. Well, it's kind of a loaded statement, but Charles de Gaulle once upon a time said, politics is too important to be left to the politicians. And that perhaps explains best why it is I'm running. I'm just a carpenter. And I'm not running for election so much here as I'm just applying for a job that I know I can do well, real damn well. I ain't much for making speeches, so I ain't going to talk much longer at all, except to say one more time, thanks everybody for showing up. And I'll be out here until they make us go home at 2 o'clock or 2:45 or whenever it is the fun police decide we all have to go home, or at least take our drinking home, or you know. But do stick around. We have wonderful bands, and also take some stickers, buttons, whatever you have. Don't feel compelled to donate. I hate asking strangers for money. I'm running against some career politicians, guys with deep pockets, and it's going to be a hard fight. But I've come this far with some volunteers and a lot of community support and some money out of my own pocket. Maybe a little more help, and I can go all the way to City Hall. Thanks. That's crazy. We're going to have Adam Music. He's a lot of fun. So, stick around.